Right, but who's going
I don't have one to talk.
I don't know.
He's not right here. And he's the one who does it.
A little bit more music.
I could be the USG. I guess not.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to GA. Promptly at 7 o'clock. Will we please have attendance?
Representative Ateshelu. Representative Bagat.
President voting.
Representative Crowley. President voting. Representative Haas. Here. Representative Hamilton.
Here. President voting.
Representative Hammond.
President voting.
Representative Hahn.
President voting.
Representative Hollabaugh.
Here.
Representative Kawashima. Representative Moser.
Here. President voting.
Representative Pandit. Representative Pujara.
President voting.
Representative Perlowski. Representative Matthews. Representative Baisley. Representative Bell.
President voting.
Representative Downey.
President voting.
Representative Hoffman.
President voting.
Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative Williams.
President voting.
Representative McKern.
President voting.
Representative Brubaker.
President voting.
Representative Taylor.
President voting.
Representative In.
President voting.
Representative Fernandez. Representative Sedina. Representative Asaf.
President voting.
Representative Gunasekar.
President voting.
Representative Moeller.
President voting.
Representative Radinsek.
President voting.
Representative Breckenfelder.
President voting.
Representative Ionity. Representative Zhang. Representative Lux.
President voting.
Representative Tyken. Treasurer Shaw.
Present.
Vice President Nguyen.
President voting.
Vice President Sanford.
President voting.
Vice President Thompson.
President voting.
Vice President Wang.
President voting.
Speaker Douglas.
Present.
And President Pinder.
President voting.
And Vice President Weber.
President voting.
And have there been any changes to the roster since our last assembly? If not otherwise been recognized?
A new member at large, Stephen Armstrong.
Excellent. And are there any guests with us tonight? Very good. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Pinder, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. I'm going to keep my remarks short. The main thing I want to highlight is the new USG Diversity and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee. As president, I have the power to create ad hoc committees that serve a purpose that I don't see USG serving within our committee and caucus structure. And I think diversity and inclusion is something that was highlighted during the State of the University address and is a big issue not only this year but years to come. So I'm creating a committee of non-USG members and USG members to focus on diversity and inclusion issues. I have 3 bullet points that are within my board report, but I am looking for members. So please, 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 if you are interested in this committee, see me after GA or send me an email. If you know somebody who would be interested in this committee, send me after GA or send me an email. I'm looking for 1 USG rep to be a co-chair and 1 non-USG rep to be a co-chair, okay? All right? Min, is it okay? Is it possible for you to pull up? Okay, I'll do that later then. All right. Actually, I just wanted to highlight the fact that Representative Haas in our 101 talked about having committee lists. She wanted to know what various committees our USG members were serving on as it relates to the university. So actually there's a new page on our website, which is the university committee list. So it's actually under the committees tab. And we can pull it up later. Under the committees tab, you check university committees, and it's a list of all of our USG representatives and the various committees they serve on. So you can see, how we as students are representing USG. Okay? I am open to points.
Thank you, President Pinder. Vice President Nguyen.
Actually, no report, just read whatever I have in my agenda. I have nothing else to add.
Excellent. Vice President Weber.
Hello, everyone. I, too, will try and be brief tonight. But just a couple things, because I haven't given a board report in a few weeks, because there hasn't been much to report to this point. Mass funding, though, is coming up sooner than we think. So everything will be back in the committee from the student groups on Friday, November 6th. And then, so Saturday, November 7th, we're going to try and do it all in one day. We'll see what happens. So the Finance Committee is going to be there, and I'll remind you guys as we get closer, but anybody else who could be there, it'd be great if we could get as many hands on deck and finish this in one day. Next thing I want to touch on is talk about Collegiate Link for a second. This was something that we are continuing with, however, due to some implementation concerns and the timeline, and just making sure, I guess, the IT aspects of it are up to speed and we have time to train the student groups. These factors, I guess, have motivated a decision to hold off on doing the finance system until next semester. This will be better, though. We'll still be able to introduce it to student groups this semester to the non-finance portions like the calendaring and some of the other update features that the program offers. So just to be aware of that. And then the other thing I want to touch on is I won't be at the next 2 Finance Committee meetings as I have interviews. However, Treasurer Shaw will lead the group and everyone will be well informed. So open to points. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Wayne.
Evening, everyone. Just one correction I would like to my board report. Our first legislation of the year will not be in regards to merit-based scholarship. I've decided to take that back to my committee for further reconsideration. However, something that is about to come out soon is in regards to study abroad. I've recently met with Dean Taylor and Dean Wolkowitz to talk about the issue. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Representative Hollabaugh. In addition to that, I want to elaborate on midterm study break a little bit. What will happen is my committee and I will be there tonight and tomorrow night to do setup and cleanup and to replenish foods as they get empty during the process. So, and then if any of you are wants to volunteer, and I've received emails from some of you, what you guys do is basically meet and greet and make sure the students take a survey. Be friendly, smile. I know I'm not doing a great job of that right now, but I'll do that once I'm in KSL. I'll make sure that you guys can call me out for it if necessary. So I'm open to points.
President Pinder.
Is the speaker aware that his birthday is tomorrow?
Is today the 13th?
It is.
So, no.
Yeah, then no, I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right.
So, would the speaker mind if GA said happy birthday?
That would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Speaker Douglas, could you lead us?
All rise.
Thank you, guys. Anything else? Points was? It's all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Wang, and thank you, the choir of GA. Vice President Sanford.
Okay, first off, go to midterm study break. Tonight or tomorrow. PR for Pizza Olympics, it's coming up very fast. If you have anything, please talk to Keith about that. For those of you who read my newsletter, there's a new template. Please talk to me about it. If you liked it, if you don't like it, let me know. Matt Knapfel and I are working on that, so we're always open to new ideas. Get excited for homecoming, please. It's gonna be awesome, and Arts and Sciences Caucus has more on that. I'm sorry, I do not have a representative spotlight for you tonight. I promise I will have more to come. Open to points.
Thank you. Representative Crawley, excuse me.
I heard a rumor that there's no soccer game on Friday night, so I was curious if anything was going to change with our Friday night event that's a tailgate for the soccer game.
The Friday night event will not be happening. We are in the process of changing our homecoming event because the game is in fact away.
Any other points? Thank you. Vice President Thompson.
I'll be brief. My committee and I have started work on the new website with the new official university template. Unfortunately, run into some unexpected complexity issues with it, and so I'm emailing communication. I'm waiting to hear back from them. Representative Bagat is looking into the MATLAB licenses and the number that we have on campus because there doesn't seem to be enough. And the email we got back is that it's just a cost issue of buying more and who's going to come up with the funds to do it. And another issue is that if your computer is a dual-core computer, it counts it as 2 computers, so that effectively halves the number of licenses available to people. So, I guess that's it. I'm open to points.
Representative Perlowski.
What's a dual-core computer?
Okay. New computers within the past few years, the main processing feature of your computer is called a processor. Now they've stuck 2 in one computer.
Oh, like an Intel Core 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it count 2?
My theory is, I don't know this for a fact, but that MATLAB can use both processors at once to do double speed. And so it's kind of like you need to pay for 2, but it's kind of dumb in my opinion, but you know.
Representative Bell.
By that correlation, does that mean it counts desktop quad core as 4?
Yes. Yeah.
And would the guys have it?
Well, there's only 5 slots.
Other points? Thank you, Vice President Thompson. Treasurer Shah.
No board before I points.
Thank you. For our Pizza Olympics update, Representative Lupton.
How's everybody doing? Okay, so there's a lot. First off, does everybody know what the Pizza Olympics is? Anybody who does not know what the Pizza Olympics is? It's a pizza tasting competition. We ask vendors to come in, students get to sample the pizza, and we ask them to rate it. So far, I'll just jump right into this. We've got Donato's, Dewey's, Pizza Bogo, Guys, Mama Sana's, Jolly Scholar, Rascal House, Valentino's, and Bon Appetit. So a couple guys that I didn't know, Rascal House and Bon Appetit didn't do it last year. They did it the first year, but ended up convincing them into doing it. As of right now, our lower limit on pizza boxes, we have at least 160 boxes of pizza, which is about 2,400 slices. So you can do the math. There's going to be a lot of students. So we're going to need, like Jackie was saying, we're going to need some crazy PR. The last thing I want is pizza to still be there. Okay? So I guarantee these pizza vendors that there's going to be 500 to 600 students at this event. Okay? So Pocky has been working on some flyers. I don't know if she had. Did you have a chance to print anything out or? That's all right. Well.
No, but I updated it.
Okay, that's fine. Pocky, the PR committee, and myself are going to be working on PRing this next week, like pretty intensely, starting tomorrow. So we'll let everybody else know. We are going to need some help from everybody. For the actual event, there's going to be setup the night before. That's one change from this year. We get to set up the night before, which is really nice. We can go in for a couple hours. So we need a lot of help doing that for a couple hours. The event itself is Thursday, October 22nd. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, okay? It's from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. So you have to, we need all hands on deck. We need everybody to be there. The big thing, I think last year we ended up having probably 20 people helping out, just handing out ballots, collecting ballots. But we had some problems with the drinks running out, so we're gonna have to give tasks for drinks going out. Another problem was the pizza boxes. They go so fast. There's just 160 boxes of pizza on tables, and all of a sudden when they're gone, they set them on the ground. And they just start piling up. So we need people always taking those pizza boxes out. Question?
Were you recycling those pizza boxes?
Always, yeah. Twing, we take the elevator down to the basement, and Twing has something outside, and we throw it in, so we definitely recycle. Some more things before I get to more questions. We've made a couple changes to for the pizza vendors. In talking to Captain Tony's, for example, he said he's never doing it again. Okay, he told me that on the phone. So I worked with him and said, what do we need to do to get you to come? And he ended up he wanted a blind taste test. So what VP Weber has been working on, he emailed out all the student organizations and asked, hey, is anybody interested? We want a name, a phone number, a group, in your year. And there's some qualifications to be a judge. You can't be picky. You have to have a lot of good comments, in that, some other stuff. VP Weber, probably tomorrow. Is VP Weber here? Where's he at? Oh, hey. So tomorrow he's going to be looking at those names. So whoever replied to that, we're going to pick 10 people. And the plan is they're going to be rating the pizza places with taste, which is going to be crust, sauce, toppings, smell, and appearance. Okay, everything's going to be weighted accordingly, and that whole the blind judges is going to be 60%. It's going to be weighted. That 60% is going to be weighted to 40% with the students are voting. So it's like a favorite contest, and it's the blind pizza contest. So I've been explaining this to the vendors. The vendors really like it, and that's how we got a couple of the vendors to do this. So, but that's going to mean we need more hands on deck. I'm going to be, to make sure that goes as smoothly as possible, as that's crucial, I'm probably going to be tied up there the whole time. So Jaylon has been doing an amazing job on logistics, Pocky's been doing an amazing job on PR, and Allie's been doing a great job calling businesses. Allie actually had one of the hardest jobs, is actually calling these pizza places and getting them to come. Okay, I've been working a lot with her. She's done a great job from the material that I gave her, and I really appreciate it. Is there any? I have a real quick. I have a sign-up sheet that I'm going to be sending around. If you are free or can be free, I don't want to encourage on TV that you skip your class. I would never want you to skip your class. But if there's any way that you can give from 11:30 to 1 o'clock on Thursday the 22nd, we need you. We'll let you know exactly what you need to be doing so everything's clear. Is there any questions? That's a lot.
Vice President Thompson.
Sorry.
Who is buying the drinks? Who provides them?
We do.
Okay.
Pizza Olympics, USG Pizza Olympics event has a little budget. Thank you for bringing that up. We buy the drinks. We do some napkins, some plates. We also, this year we did something new. We are doing pens. We bought 250 pens from a company. They should be in by that time. I made sure. They have it says Pizza Olympics, the search for the perfect pizza, and below that it has the USG logo. It's nice that they can do it with usg.case.edu on it. So hopefully everything turns out really nice. It's going to be in blue font on a white barrel with trim yellow. So That's how that's going to look.
Representative Begat.
Are you going to release both the, I guess, the blind judges if whatever the result is from the combined total of blind judges and popular vote? Are you going to release that as well as popular vote? So let's say the popular vote was for Rascals, but Rascal House Pizza, but then the actual winners was Donato's. Would you release both or just one?
No. So the way it's going to work is the blind judges have a certain way we're judging that, okay? However, those results come out, those are going to be weighted 60% to the 40% that the campus votes. So that's how we're going to kind of come in. Does that answer your question? What, can you ask it again for me? Sorry.
I just kind of want to know what I guess the most popular pizza was based off the students only. I want to know if that was would be released as well.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that. Well, I've thought about that a lot. I'm pretty sure that the only results that will come out would be the overall, because that would kind of stir up some controversy saying, oh, so the students like this, but the taste is this. We'll talk about it. But I definitely can't release a lot of the results that we look at, because a lot of these pizza vendors, if they get 5th or they get 7th in this pizza, I don't want to release those results, because this is just a marketable opportunity for them. I don't want it to hurt them. I only want it to help them. So we'll have to just see.
Representative Hoffman.
When are you going to start PRing? Because I was just wondering if they're going to tear down posters during fall break.
I don't know. Do they tear down posters for fall break? Is that how it works? Probably. Okay, so we're gonna have waves of PR. I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. So thanks for letting me know. I didn't know that.
Representative Downey.
Are you keeping track of all this in like a document or something so that next year we have something to go off of? I mean, you've done a great job, but I don't want this to just...
No, trust me. My job, I'm gonna be here next year to get that clarified. My job after the Pizza Olympics is to make sure, like, this document is gonna be perfect, okay? What I'm gonna do for next year is I'm not gonna run it. I'm gonna try to make it perfect, and I'm gonna give it out to a couple people and see how it runs, and I'm gonna be a supervisor. We tried that this year. Oh, sorry, hold on one second. We tried that this year, and it didn't work as well, and that's why I kind of stepped in and tried to helping. So I'm going to talk with the people who have been helping me, because they've had a lot of experience. They know what's tough about it, and then hopefully we'll have a good, sustainable event for future years. Sorry.
I was just going to say, point of information, Keith has a lot of documents, including a flow chart on how to call businesses. If they say this, you say this. If they say this, you say this. Down the line, it's extensive.
Yeah, but you're right though. I do really need to put a lot more work into this, because the event is, like, I do have a lot of information in my head, and it's just really hard to let other people know that. So, but I'm definitely gonna have a nice document, and I'll probably let those of you who want to see it by the end of, hopefully, as soon as possible. We'll see how long that document takes. It'll probably be a while. Is there any other questions?
Excellent.
Okay. The only thing I want to say real quick is, please, I'm going to send around this list. Jaylon printed this out. I really don't know how it's formatted. I didn't even look at it. Okay. Write down all I really care about is, if you want to help for these times, there's some times in here, write your name, write your email address, okay? We'll email you out. This is really important, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Lupton. We'll move into caucus reports from the Engineering Caucus. Representative Downey.
First off, apologize for my apparel. I just came from a study session. Engineering Caucus has actually been pretty busy. We will meet next Wednesday with Don Feek, Vice Provost, to talk about a couple things along with the engineering school, but also about the advising report that he chaired, and talk about its impact on the School of Engineering specifically. We will also be having an event November the 6th at 12:30, where we'll be handing out hot chocolate on the quad, and trying to get some comments and feedback from students in the engineering, in the School of Engineering. And then also, give a shout out to Faith Baisley, who's done an amazing job on this. We now have a poster with all of our names and majors and how to contact us. And we'll be hanging the big version of this in Nord. And then also we're going to try to do table tents in the different study rooms in the different engineering buildings. like Bingham, A.W. Smith, Glennon, like that, just so kids can see it in many different places. I'm open to points. Thank you.
Vice President Wayne.
Sorry.
Is there anything, well, if you're talking to Provost, is there anything that my committee can do or address?
I'll let you know about any concerns that we come up with after that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a representative from the College of Arts and Science to speak? Representative Hollabach.
The Arts and Science Caucus had been potentially planning having a barbecue event and tailgating event going on the Friday of homecoming, but we've since learned that there's been some discrepancies and miscommunication as far as that game being an away game instead of a homecoming game that weekend. So we're currently going into planning alternative events at the moment. We've in the last 2 weeks had meetings with Sharon Jordan Davis and Lisa Chu of the College of Arts and Science, and are working on collaborating with them in the future and having more events for students to be able to interact with faculty and develop a relationship with the College of Arts and Science, and developing really a sense of being a arts and science alumni and participating with them. One of these events will be a formal event occurring on the I think, Thursday of finals for arts and science students to participate on. And we are also going through and recruiting certain students from the College of Arts and Science to be greeters and interact with alumni during College of Arts and Science events. That's it. Are there any points?
Representative Bagat.
Just an addendum to what Representative Hollabach said. We also met with the VP of Marketing for the Arts and Sciences last week, and we're going to be working closely with alumni as well, trying to get more cooperation going on there. And we will also we're making headway on having some sort of meet the faculty event, most likely sometime during November.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a representative from the Nursing Caucus to give a report? Do you have a report to give?
There's no report.
Okay.
I'm open to points.
Thank you, Representative Lux. From the Weatherhead Caucus, Representative Zhang.
No report, and everything will be after 4 weeks.
Excellent. Thank you. And from the First Year Caucus, Representative Saf.
No reports, but also after fall break.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing great things from all of you after break. With the Student Sustainability Council, Mr. Allen, please take the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Since there are a good number of new faces, just real quick, my name is Trevor Allen. I'm a junior here, and I am the chair of USG's ad hoc committee, the Student Sustainability Council, which you can find online at ssc.case.edu. Quite a few things going on, so I'll just be brief on all of them. First of all, there was the original idea about the real-time power usage feed graphs, which Facility Services provides, and we have a page of those with links to them, kind of excessive to embed them. But on our website, there's a link that takes you to, there's one for the village, there's one actually for almost every building around here, including the entire campus. It's real-time how much power is being used right now. It's kind of cool. Additionally, a lot of you last Friday might have seen Greenfest. I want to be clear, Greenfest was not organized by us, but by Dan, and I can't remember or pronounce his last name. He was at Carlton Road RA last year. Him and a bunch of people worked together last year and did it, and expanded it this year. And SSC was there to help provide some funding, some PR, and provide some organizational support. And that's kind of the great part, is we were able to inspire and encourage and facilitate individual initiatives. And that was a huge success, and hope all of you enjoyed that if you made it. Coming up, one of our bigger events that we're our big event that we're looking for this semester, Late Night Eco Party. There's several small objectives, but the biggest objective is to really, it's kind of a promote awareness thing. It's an event that's going to take place on November 14th, Saturday, 9 p.m. in the Delbert Gym. It is a late night breakfast style, and there's going to be a lot of, we're looking for some provocative displays to get people thinking, a lot of various kind of those what you can do, how-to tips, those kind of things, and just generally have a good time, completely carbon neutral, get people out of the dorms, and of course, people to get in, you have to pledge that you will unplug everything, turn off your lights, and reduce your energy consumption there. Come join everyone here, and just people can generally associate having a good time with being sustainable at the same time. Be carbon neutral, everything will be as low environmental impact as possible. That'll be really fun. I'll give you more details on that as it comes closer. Probably not this semester, but possibly we're looking for next semester. Might be working with the Film Society to put up a film on Friday or Saturday over the weekend or sometime. There are various films that are great for environmental and sustainability, but one really good just came out recently called Polycultures, which is covers Northeast Ohio, and I think has mostly to do with food and farmers markets and that kind of local thing. It's great. So we're looking for that for next semester. And finally, two more things. First, October 21st and 22nd, there is a nationwide event called National Sustainability Day, which is essentially a teach-in. And we've been helping some others to recruit teachers to do this. Basically, they volunteer part or all of their class time on the 21st or 22nd of October to talk about sustainability, environmentalism, how that relates to their field, their area of study, to kind of bring it into the forefront of everybody's mind and see how it interrelates to everything. Finally, we are looking to work with Ignite TV. We're talking with them on, well, they want to do some new original programming, and we're looking with them. Right now, we're just kind of looking at some neat little student tips, things that are going on around here, issues that are local and important to students, stuff like that. We have open minded to something a little more detailed documentary of environmental stuff, how it relates to Case or relates to Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, or our generation or something like that for the longer term. We're just kind of getting together and brainstorming, got some great ideas for that. So I'm open to any points, suggestions, comments, questions. Yes.
President Pinder.
Is USG's SSC going to be looking into working with the newly formed Fowler Center for Sustainable Value at the Weather School Management? Similar to that?
Not particularly. We haven't approached them or talked about anything like that, but it's definitely something we can look into.
So, any other points for Mr. Allen from the Sustainability Council? Thank you.
Thank you much.
This time we will swear in any of our newly elected executive officers.
Skylar.
So, it's President Thompson.
It's your time to shine. Smile. Uh-huh. All right. Can you please raise your right hand? I state your name in full.
I, Skylar Thompson,
Do solemnly swear, as an officer of the USG,
as an officer of the USG,
to responsibly represent my constituency
to responsibly represent my constituency
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution
I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution
and all appropriate bylaws of the USG.
and all appropriate bylaws of the USG.
As an elected representative to the USG,
As an elected representative to the USG,
I further pledge to serve the students
I further pledge to serve the students
of Case Western Reserve University
of Case Western Reserve University
with integrity and honesty.
with integrity and honesty.
Congratulations.
We'll now welcome any newly elected representatives.
That have not been sworn in so far.
So,
Mm-hmm.
that will be anyone who's been elected since
Past 2 weeks.
the past 2 weeks.
I think so. Please raise your right hand. I state your name in full.
I have more.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
No,
No,
all
all
together. We'll start over. I state your name in full. Do solemnly swear. As a representative of the USG. To responsibly represent my constituency. to the best of my ability. I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution and all appropriate bylaws of the USG. As an elected representative to the USG, I further pledge to serve the students of Case Western Reserve University with integrity and honesty. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, President Pinder. We'll now open old business. Is there any old business? Seeing none, we will now move into new business. Is there any new business? Vice President Thompson.
Move to introduce Bill B 19-03.
Second.
Excellent. I know this is typically uncouth to Robert's rules, but I will be the speaker and the pro for both Bill B 19-03 and -04. So I'm going to move to a different microphone, I guess. This bill is pretty straightforward. Essentially, as our bylaws are currently written right now, caucuses are not allowed to introduce a bill. That being said, any two representatives are allowed to author a bill without necessarily a committee sponsor, but this bill will allow any representative to author a bill under the representation and sponsorship of their caucus. It is a modification of the bylaws, so what that means is discussion will be opened on this today, and it will have to automatically be tabled so we can inform the student body that this bylaw is being changed, and then we can vote on it at our next assembly in 2 weeks. But otherwise, I'm happy to address any questions on this. Again, it's very straightforward. A lot of the words in here are just words addressing that one major point. Yes, sir.
After this bill is passed, caucuses can pass both bills and resolutions, correct?
Correct.
Seeing as this is a bylaw change, I'm just curious as to why it was sponsored by our speaker rather than our parliamentarian.
They don't necessarily have to be sponsored by the parliamentarian. Anyone can propose a bylaw change. In the past, it's been a duty of the parliamentarian to review our bylaws and constitution each year, which is why that's what you're probably used to. This is by no means a full review. This was just me checking something and realizing that caucuses can propose legislation, and I'd like them to be able to. So, any other points? Okay. Is there a speaker in the con? Seeing none, we will open up discussion. Are there any points for discussion regarding this bill? Representative Halbach?
I feel this might be a little inappropriate at this point in time, because two members of the General Assembly always have the right to propose legislation. And so it might be more appropriate to couple this motion with later efforts on behalf of the Judicial Board to have a more comprehensive overhaul of the documents that we typically have in the spring. Because if we get in this habit of always going through and doing these little step-by-step, that means every week we're going to be sending out something to the entire student body to revise the documents.
Representative Down?
But by having this change now, wouldn't we give a little more power to the caucuses to affect change now instead of having to wait? And I know two students can still do it, but this will give the caucuses where a lot of the students like come to and raise concerns and all that, gives them more power to actually change that and help the students now instead of having to wait for the end of the semester when the Judicial Board reviews it. Just how I feel on that.
Representative Breckenfeld?
That's a good point, but all of the caucuses have at least 2 members on them, so those 2 members could sponsor the document until the board meets to meet.
Representative Asaf?
I think the main point of this resolution is to increase, I guess, the purpose of caucuses. And I know that 2 representatives can sponsor a resolution, but the point is that the caucus as a whole to sponsor a resolution so they can feel like they're active and have things to do on their agenda. And I guess it just increases the purpose of the caucus.
Representative Crawley?
I think what it really does is give caucuses a sense of responsibility and also an ability, when you send out legislation, it's not just two random members, but it might show the college that their entire group of representatives is believing in something and going past something. And that's one of the main reasons why I think it would be a good passage.
Representative Perlowski.
Just point me correct, the campus needs to vote to approve this, correct? Or is it just?
Only for constitutional amendments. Bylaws, they just need to be notified before it's voted on. Representative Hollabog, did you?
I feel that we're going to have a precedent though with caucuses going through and submitting legislation and pushing legislation through. That this might just be a little formality in the documents, but this is already established in how we operate as an institution. And so we can wait to put this off with a more comprehensive overhaul of our documents versus doing it just for sake of doing it now.
Representative Perlowski.
I don't think that having the two author rule is a detriment to the caucuses sponsoring legislation because as it stands, people should be working in conjunction with each other so that even if it is a bill that comes out of, say, the Arts and Sciences Caucus, there should be two people writing that bill together if it's truly representative of what the caucus means. So I think it might just be kind of a formality that's a practice that should already be in place.
Vice President Wang. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, be it authorized by the members to amend section 1 to be read, Article 5, Section B, point 2 shall be revised to be read as a listing of authors, comma, the originating or amending, comma, and supporting committees and caucuses and sponsors.
Could you repeat that?
Be enacted section 1 replace amending language with a listing of authors, comma, the originating or amending, comma, and supporting committees and caucuses, comma, and sponsors.
That's not friendly because that's not, if you read it in context with the rest of the bylaws, that's stating what's listed on an amend, or on the header of a resolution or a piece of legislation. So we will have to move into discussion on that amendment and then vote on that amendment this time. Any points? Representative Brubaker?
Point of personal privilege.
Any points?
Would it be possible to, can we see the amendment up there so we can put in what the amendment would be?
Vice President Wang, I actually made a mistake. If you excuse me, we need to have a speaker in the pro, so please take the podium for the amendment. When an amendment is proposed, it essentially is acted like we act upon it as if it was another piece of legislation. So there's a speaker in the pro, a speaker in the con, discussion, and then we have to vote on that, and then we move back to the original discussion on the bill itself.
I'm making this amendment on behalf of someone else, just for the clarification. What? It was a suggestion from someone who formerly served in USG. He was suggesting, being enacted, section 1, replace amending language with a listing of authors, or comma, the originating or amending, comma, and supporting committees and caucuses, comma, and sponsors. And it ends with that. His rationale is, as long as we are amending this section, he thinks that we should make additional important changes that says more explicitly that the committees can submit committees/caucuses can submit legislations, and those which do or edit legislation can also approve it as a committee.
Okay. Are there any points for the speaker? Vice President Wang? You're still the speaker. Are there any points for the speaker? Representative Haas? Okay. As far as I know, yes.
What was the question?
Do we have a quorum?
Yeah, yes.
Representative Perlasky?
Just a question for the speaker. You said this was, the idea was suggested to you by a board member of USG. Do you personally support this amendment? And
He was.
I know, but you personally, do you support this amendment and like really are on board with it?
I don't have a particular opinion about it, but he felt very passionate about it, so I thought I'll do it. I'll say it on behalf of him.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con for the amendment? Okay, seeing none, we will move into discussion on the amendment to Bill B 19-03. Vice President Thompson?
While I don't have an opinion on the amendment itself, I think it's not the point of the bill at hand, and so it should be brought up at a separate time.
Representative Perlasky?
Would the speaker elaborate on why exactly he felt that this was an unfounded amendment?
The bylaw, as stated in, as I believe I base this legislation off of, is modifying the bylaw, and that particular bylaw lists what a bill will, what the head of a bill will feature. So the head of a bill will not read authors abiding or amending, I believe is what it says. I can't read it from here, I apologize. Essentially, this is already a very wordy bill, as most bills are, and I don't feel the need to add any more words to what we're resolving. This is to simplify things. So, are there any other points for discussion? Representative Downey?
Just a point of clarification. Are we going to go back to the discussion for the original? Or do we have to call it?
Correct. Discussion must be ended, and we must vote on this amendment, and then we will move back to the bill. Vice President Wynn? Okay. All in favor of ending discussion? Opposed? Okay. Discussion has been ended. We will now vote on the amendment to Bill B 19-03. All in, excuse me, all in favor of amending, be it authorized clause 1 as stated on the screen, please signify by raising your hands. All opposed? Raise them high. Thank you. Abstentions? Okay. The amendment fails. We'll now move back into discussion on the bill as stated in your agenda. Representative Downey.
Just back on the point of whether this is relevant, I guess. I guess I see the same purpose for like when a vice president has their name on a bill. It may seem superficial to us, but I think to the students who aren't always privy to everything that goes on in GA, to them it shows them what's happening and it keeps them updated. Because they don't necessarily know who all representatives are, or which caucus or school they're in or anything like that. So by having the caucus on there, it shows them that this is for them, their caucus, their USG representatives are actually doing something for them. To us, it may seem, irrelevant, but to them, it helps tell them what's actually going on.
Any other points for discussion? President Pinder.
Is there any more points of discussion? I move the table of the bill.
Okay. The bill is tabled until the next GA. I don't believe we vote on that. Parliamentary Act. Okay. Thank you. Is there any other new business? Representative Crawley?
There's an introduced General Assembly Bill B 19-04.
Second.
Okay. This bill's a little bit messier, and I will say, just to clarify, once I finish introducing this bill, as role of speaker, I'm not allowed to have an opinion. For that reason, the executive committee is listed on here, and the co-sponsors, being the 5 speakers of the caucuses who this idea originated from, are all listed on here. I don't expect any of them to necessarily agree with everything is stated in here, but this bill is especially intended to open discussion on the way that we elect new representatives. We've seen a significant amount of turnover in our assembly this year, and this is not necessarily to amend any sort of bylaw or operating procedure of USG. It's just to set a precedent, and that precedent would be that as a vacancy opens up, rather than opening nominations immediately afterwards, leaving them open for a week, promoting them continuously in our USG newsletter, and then spending time at every assembly having elections, what we would be doing is when an election comes up, it will be precedent of USG to table the nominations once they're open, and those nominations will stay on the table until 1 week before the last GA of every month. At that point, all nominations would be removed from the table, which would have to be done by members of the assembly. I know this is confusing, please bear with me. We would have 1 week where we'd be able to promote all openings within the General Assembly, and then at the first GA of every month, we would then be voting in all new representatives. It would be a long assembly, but rather than spreading it out over every assembly, it would give us one set assembly. It would open up the doors for anyone who had any strong opinions as to who was representing them on USG when they couldn't vote in a popular election because of our procedures right now as to elect within assembly when a vacancy is left in the middle of a semester. This would open the doors for them. This would give us more opportunity to promote, and it would speed up the other 3 GAs of that month, giving us the opportunity to focus more on legislation and what everyone in this room is here to do, which is not to come to assemblies and elect new members. With that, as you can see, a lot of the advantages to this bill are outlined in the be it authorized. Again, remember, this is only setting a precedent. Nothing is modified by this. In a sense, this bill, I'm hoping, will just open a discussion between everyone in this room. So with that, I'm open to points. Representative Bagat.
I'm not really sure how the assemblies work. So this is the 19th assembly of GA. So next semester will be the 20th assembly, or next fall bring the 20th assembly?
Still the 19th. Next fall will be the 20th assembly. Are there any other questions? Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. I guess my main concerns with this bill are about the constitutionality of it. Basically, I think you can't legislate a precedent. This legislation violates the logical structure of how legislation and governance work. And so at the very least, this most definitely needs to be sent to a committee or a person for substantial revision. To the extent you may want to make recommendations, the proper form is a resolution, not a bill. It is basically saying this is how we should proceed when it works best. If this was a bill, it would have to be amending something in the bylaws or the Constitution, or it would have to add language to either of those. There's nothing here which indicates that it will be modified or where this will be added. Precedent is not the issue. Constitutionality is, because this is unconstitutional. We know this because our Constitution says how openings are supposed to be filled, which includes positions must be announced to the campus. Positions need to be open for a week. After this point, USG must address the issue whenever a student comes forward to fill the vacancy. And if GA doesn't like the candidate, we can vote down the person. Because this is talking about how we change this, it relates to USG governance. This being the case, if this is sent to anyone and not simply voted down, this should be sent to the judicial board for a ruling on our ability to vote on this. The constitutional changes made at the end of last year give the parliamentarian the power and the obligation to prevent unconstitutional bills from being introduced. Since this was introduced, we should send it to the judicial board so they can rule. This is unconstitutional because the Constitution and the bylaws provide for how to handle vacancies. According to those documents, and I believe this is really what we should be doing, the appropriate way to handle vacancies should be to ask the following at some point during GA. The following positions are vacant. State the vacant positions. Has anyone come forward to fill these vacancies? If the answer is no, we move on. If someone is there, we vote. And if we do pass this, because it is unconstitutional, it won't be enforceable. It'll just be something we think about when we have to ignore it and vote on someone who has come forward to fill a vacancy. And it gives us the option to ignore it. It says it doesn't apply when the position is important. Our elected positions are all important. How do we determine this? Lastly, we shouldn't deny the students' representatives just because we don't want to deal with electing representatives. There are many ways to make GA more efficient. This should not be one of them, taking away from our constituents. So I suggest one of two courses of action. Vote this resolution down today or send it to the judicial board to be dealt with permanently. I would like to make my intention clear. I think the best choice would be to send this to the judicial board. With this being said, I hoped I will not be ignored by the Speaker of the Assembly when I sit down and raise my hand to make a motion. This, of course, is the danger posed when the Speaker of the Assembly introduces legislation. I'm open to points. Katie. Representative Bell.
Where in the bill do you find the language that important positions must be filled immediately? Because I cannot find that language in there. In the amendment of the bill that we're voting on.
Let me get my legislation for a second.
It's clause 2 under immediate authorization.
All right, thank you very much.
Can you read it?
Okay, could you please? I can't find it.
The established precedent by nature of being an informal process shall be ignored in cases requiring immediate filling of a vacant position by removing the nomination from the table.
Any other points?
Representative
Representative Down.
I just have a question. Doesn't the USG also have a obligation to the students to, help them with anything they might have on campus, whether it be an issue with security, issue with whatever? And if our business is at every single GA electing people, and that's taking up most of the GA, that means we don't have as much time for the actual matters at hand of helping the students. Wouldn't that actually be unconstitutional? I mean, we haven't passed any legislation almost at all because every single GA has been electing more people. And so students are not willing to stay 2 hours every time. And so we're not getting as much work done as we, I think, should for the students. That's just how I kind of feel about it.
Basically, I see that there's been, before this, 2 pieces of legislation introduced to the General Assembly. And I don't see how the electing new representatives has been, I guess, preventing us from getting more resolutions in. It's simply coming down to committees working on that. That doesn't really have anything to do with electing new representatives. And your response?
I mean, it does, because if GA is running over, significantly, right now it's already 8 o'clock. Last year, GA is just about over right now.
And so if students are coming in expecting, oh wow, we have 3 more elections, I want to make this as short as possible. I want to get in and out. I don't want to spend 2 hours there. And therefore, I mean, your attitude there is like, well, I don't want to work for the students. I don't want to bring up issues because I don't want to make this go any longer than I absolutely have to. I mean, that's just.
Then we should seek the or change the Constitution then, and not try to streamline this process.
Vice President Thompson.
Just looking at the Constitution and bylaws, I personally see no issue with the constitutionality of this bill. It simply says that General Assembly will appoint replacements to fill vacancies, and it doesn't specify how, when. And in fact, the Constitution itself says nothing about what kind of legislation we pass. It's simply the bylaws. And it says a bill is any piece of legislation that deals with a subject or issue USG directly controls, which I believe elections fall under. So I'm just not seeing any constitutional issue with this bill, personally.
I guess I'm worried about the interpretation of important and how that can be dealt with. Is it important if, what is important? If we lose one engineering representative or one member of the College of Arts and Sciences, then when do we deal with that? But at the same time, if we lose someone from the nursing school or the Weatherhead school, is that more pressing simply because there are fewer members?
Yeah.
And it needs something definitive in this bill to tell us about it.
President Pinder.
Point of order, let's keep points for discussion. Points for the speaker are just supposed to be clarification. Okay.
Thank you. Representative Bell.
Oh, I'm not exactly sure the exact process. Well, since it doesn't necessarily say anymore, it says immediate lit, couldn't we just amend the bill to like read exec council, you know, like speaker, whatever? Is there a way, can we do that, to amend the bill with that? Be moving the, like it'd be clarifying the bill in such a way that it wouldn't be saying, oh, these people are more important than others. It'd just be saying the higher up exact important things like the vice president. In adding that to the clarification, would that solve the problem?
Yeah, that would be a discussion.
Representative Downey.
I was just wondering if we can, and this isn't really a discussion, but can we move into discussion? Because I feel like
There was no time limit set, so if there are no points, then.
Any more points? All right.
Representative Crawley.
I think that one of the biggest things that needs to be answered, instead of doing this, like, I don't actually have an issue with the amendment, but I think that it doesn't matter because we need to answer why there's been so many vacancies, what's wrong with what we're doing. And I don't think that really there's been any issues with the meetings. There hasn't been legislation passed because the committees, the VPs, and the representatives themselves haven't taken the initiative to put out amendments, and that's why there haven't been amendments, resolutions, and bills put out there. And so I think we just need to get to the root causes instead of trying to stop the process.
Because it is past 8 o'clock, discussion is limited to 5 minutes, so you're aware. Representative Perlowski.
I think that this bill is an extremely attractive idea, and I think it would streamline GA quite a bit. But we do have to remember that electing representatives is one of our duties to our students. So if this process, if we have any doubt in our mind whether or not it's unconstitutional, we do have the responsibility to send it to J Board to make sure that we are upholding it for our constituents.
Representative Brubaker.
Just to clarify, this bill will only be in effect for this school year?
As stated, yes.
Okay. In that case, I see no harm in enacting this bill for this year, as long as we do address the underlying issues while this bill is in effect.
Representative Assaf.
Points. The previous representative says that it's unconstitutional because it has to be made open to the students, which it will be, and there has to be a week beforehand. And I believe the speaker said that there will be a week, the last week, where you can campaign and
Representative Breckenfelder?
Being on a caucus with only 3 people on there, if one person's not there, that's a big loss for the caucus. So I feel like if there's one person not there, or even 2 people not there, then there's a 1-person caucus. It's not representative.
Representative Haas?
In no way is this stopping people from being at-large members. I think if we had someone come in the beginning of October who wanted to run by the end, there's a possibility that they would realize USG was for them and they would stay. I feel like seeing someone for 4 weeks before we left them would be like a great thing to know that they're going to be there. And also, I feel as though this is for this USG, people in this room. And I feel like this bill was pressured, or the negative feedback on this bill was pressured by outside sources. And I feel like if we're saying that this is only for this year and we are having a huge trouble like with turnover, that we should make the decision.
Vice President Weber?
I have a couple feelings on this. I'm not a fan of the term precedent. I don't think you can determine precedent based on passing a bill, looking at how things are done. Additionally, getting back to the idea that legislation isn't being passed in GA, I agree that it has to happen on a committee level, and so that should be the thrust of that. Finally, Representative previously touched on this, but I agree that there's no determination in this document as to which representative positions are important, and that ambiguity should be addressed.
Vice President Wang? Representative is back there. Bowler?
I question how much time this is actually saving GA, because it just seems like we're taking what we need to get done and putting it off until the first of the month.
Representative Lupton?
I'm just curious real quick about parliamentary ad walls idea. Is this constitutional, and can you define what is a resolution and what is a bill? I think that'll help.
Okay, so switching over to my parliamentarian role for the evening. First of all, the difference between a bill and a resolution. A bill deals with only USG matters, only matters having to do with RGA, and a resolution addresses something for the whole campus. So it's the difference between those two things. In terms of constitutionality, I was actually looking at the same passages that VP Thompson was looking at. And as it came to my understanding, talking to Speaker Douglas, that this was a bill that was just going to be introduced today for the purpose of discussion. So I wanted to see what the representatives thought of it today. I didn't find anything unconstitutional about it when I was looking at this. Some of the wording, I agree with precedent, but I wanted to talk more with the representatives and Speaker Douglas about maybe possibly changing that afterwards. But I wanted to let this at least come to GA first and see what the opinion was on it.
Representative Downey?
Okay, just when we were talking about this at the speaker meeting, I was actually the one who introduced this idea. Engineering caucus right now as it is at 70%. We are missing 3 people. We have been missing 3 people for a little while. And the reason we've lost a couple people is because the GAs were getting longer and longer and longer, and everyone here I know is very busy because we're involved with a lot of things. And that expressed to me by a couple people who left was the reason they left. Things were getting too long, it was too much of a commitment, they couldn't really do it. So I saw this, especially now, has been dragging our meetings out quite a bit. It actually would be saving us quite a bit of time. If you look at, past pretty much every single GA when we've elected people, it's taken an extra half an hour, which when a meeting is supposed to run maybe an hour, hour 15, that's a pretty significant chunk of time. The other thing is, if we elect people every single time, then you have to bring people in every single week and retrain them and get them kind of oriented within the committee. So they can't even really—
That is time on discussion. It's been 5 minutes. Vice President Thompson.
Move to extend discussion.
You have to set a time.
5 minutes.
Second.
Okay. Discussion is extended by 5 minutes. Representative Perlowski.
I just think it's an important observation that our meeting is currently
Vice President Wynn?
I move to refer the bill back to its authors for further review. Second.
Okay. Bill will be referred back to the author. Is there any other new business? President Pinder.
I move to introduce General Assembly Bill B 19-05.
Second.
Is there a speaker in the pro?
This is just our general finance update bill. We are recognizing a couple of groups, Undergraduate Bioethics Society. I think we lost their paperwork, so we're just like officially recognizing them again. The Racquetball Club, Case Shimmies, which is a belly dancing club. Young Americans for Liberty, and Case for Sight, which is actually more of a name change. It used to be Unite for Sight, but they're changing their names. And we also allocated $943 out of a requested $3,206. You can see the breakdown in Appendix A. I'm open to points.
Representative Pulaski?
So there were 3 groups that requested t-shirt subsidies in Providence, Young Americans for Liberty, and Music and Case Juggling. I'm sorry, 4. 3 of them were awarded that t-shirt subsidy, but the Young Americans for Liberty was not. Can you elaborate as to why?
I believe we did not award it to them because we felt that we wanted a more like concrete number of like actual members, not just people on their, because I think they were going off a list of like how many people are on their mailing list, not just like their true actual active members.
Representative Lupton?
I just have a question of one thing. Can you take a look at Young Americans for Liberty? You have something real quick, tea and coffee fundraiser. Okay, we've allocated them for $150. I don't really, can you elaborate on that? I really don't agree because I think that's a lot of money. Tea and coffee, pretty cheap. How big of an event is this? Is $150 exactly what they need?
Well, they've made a good point to the committee, and also you have to keep in mind that they need materials to heat the water too, like I don't know, like stuff to keep the water hot and that sort of thing. So I think that also went into the price.
Follow up. Can you also touch on real quick, maybe the whole event, because the color printing paint, we gave them $100 to PR for this event. We also gave them V for Vendetta masks. I don't know, can you explain what those masks are for? It sounds like those are masks, usually masks are about $3. You're only getting about 20 students getting masks. That's not really good PR. I really don't understand. I don't know if I agree. Can you just explain a little bit more about this event?
The masks were supposed to be a thing for like to come to see the movie V for Vendetta, like the first 20 or so people are gonna get masks. It's a promotional idea. And for the color printing and painting, I think they, were talking a lot, they really do a lot of advertising kind of stuff, and I think we've all seen that they really do a lot, so that's why I believe they got so much.
Representative Pulaski?
Also, if the coffee and tea is a fundraiser for their group, why is that not factored into their cost of what they expect to make? If they expect to make less than $150, why could you not just allocate for whatever they wanted to raise funds for?
I'm actually not totally sure about that, how the tea and coffee fundraiser is working. I could direct it to
I can touch on that briefly. Both the tea and coffee fundraiser and the advertising values are large because they are going to be ongoing things that this group does on a continual basis during the semester.
Other points for the speaker? Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con? Seeing none, we'll move into discussion. Discussion will be limited to 5 minutes. Representative Lupton?
Question for VP Weber. You said that they are going to use this over the course of the whole semester. I agree with that. The V for Vendetta mask promotion, how do these, oh, there's a couple different events.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I understand that.
Vice President Nguyen.
I move to amend, the second grass plot that be made to the responsibility of USG. I move to amend,
Vice President Nguyen.
be it enacted clause one, to add a colon after organization. Really?
Any other points for discussion? President Pinder.
Call for your discussion.
Okay. We will now vote on the amendment, or the bill, excuse me, as stated. All in favor of enacting Bill B 19-05, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Abstentions? Very well. The Bill B 1905 is enacted then officially. And now move into Representative Lupton.
Move to close nominations for secretary. Do we have to do that?
Well, it's a part, it's actually is, I mean, as a part of new business, those are open. So if there are no other nominations, I mean, the motion has been made. Yes. Then second. All right, we'll now move into elections for the Secretary of the Assembly. There is one candidate, Amy Hahn. So, Amy, you will have 30 seconds to address the Assembly and 1 minute for questions.
Good evening. My name is Amy Hahn, and I'm a sophomore biochem nutrition major, and I'm currently the College of Arts and Science representative. When I heard about the vacancy for this position, I decided that it would be a good way to get more involved with USG. I've been involved since the spring semester of my freshman year, and I believe that I am very qualified for this position because I am a very organized person, and I'll be able to take good minutes during meetings and email the agenda out in an orderly or fashionable time. And I would also be working closely with other VPs and helping in any way possible. And I just feel like this position is a great way for me to get more involved with USG. So I'm open to points.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Amy, would you please step outside? Representative Lupton, could you get the door behind her, please? Okay. Discussion is open. We'll limit to 5 minutes. Vice President Wang. You have to end discussion first. Representative Downey.
Move to end discussion.
Second.
Okay. We will then vote by acclamation, there being only one candidate, unless somebody would like to propose a higher voting method. So all in favor of electing Amy Hahn as Secretary of the Assembly, or excuse me, if there's no dissent to electing Amy Hahn as Secretary of the Assembly, if there's dissent, please speak now. Okay. Amy Hahn will be the Secretary of the Assembly. Congratulations, Amy. Nominations are still open for the School of Engineering representative. To clarify, we have 4 positions. President Pulaski?
Do we have anyone running for these positions?
As of now, no. I believe we can vote on 2 of them tonight, as they've been publicized to the campus. Are there any nominations? Seeing none, nominations will remain open until we have a candidate. Is there any other new business? President Pulaski?
Move to open nominations for College of Arts and Sciences representative.
Second.
Okay. Are there any nominations for the College of Arts and Science representative just vacated by Representative Hahn? Representative Crawley?
I nominate Kelly Harris. Second.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations will remain open. We will vote on them at the assembly in 2 weeks. And nominations are still open for 4 positions within the School of Engineering. Is there any other?
Is it actually 4? Well, I thought it was 3.
It's 3, I'm sorry.
And then the one is gonna be Amy just left, so.
For Arts and Science. Okay. Very well. Are there any other points for new business? Seeing none, we will move into open forum. Representative Downey.
I was studying in the library, and it seems like a lot of the study rooms and actually a lot of the other tables where they're supposed to be wired up so you just plug in your computer, they're not hooked up, like, at all. That's kind of annoying, because they're really nice tables. All they have to do is wire it in. You have to have a key, so I guess it's maintenance or facilities or whoever does that. Maybe we could get someone pass along to them.
Representative Pulaski.
I think it's important that because we do have such high turnover with our representatives, that everyone does take the initiative to talk to their friends about it and nominate people. Even though it might take long to go through 10 or so nominations for one position, it will ensure that we get the best candidate and not someone who just appears like a strong candidate because they are so over-involved and extended. So I think everyone should think about that.
Representative Begat.
I'm going to kind of be spearheading the representative, Meet the Representative video. So if anyone has any video experience or wants to get involved, send me an email or come see. Actually, you won't see me at the GA because I'm running away. Running the study, but yeah. So just send me an email, Facebook, whatever you got to do, and just let me know if you want to be part of the video. Process.
Representative Crawley.
Light number 19 is still out.
Representative Lupton.
Yeah, I have a big issue.
Big issue.
Yeah, so I don't use Case Cash because I'm off campus. But for the people who do use Case Cash, go to Dave's Market. Dave's no longer sells alcohol to people that use Case Cash or gift cards. Also, there's a couple other things like firearms and pornography. I looked into that, and those are things because I think those are, if you are of age, I believe you should be able to get those things with Case Cash. Because Case Cash, I thought the purpose of that was to be safe for the students who don't have to carry cash around. This is, you put money in this card, you can use it anywhere. That's my feelings. Maybe we can get a little discussion on that.
I can address that directly. Because those items are taxed, Case Cash can't go to tax because we are a tax-free university. So, like alcohol, there's an alcohol tax that Case Cash can't go to, is I believe the restriction on it. That's why we can't, at the spot personally, I can't let people buy beer with Case Cash for that reason. So, I mean, pornography and guns, maybe that's something we need to look into, but is there a direct response? Representative Hoffman?
You can buy clothes with Case Cash, and that has a tax. At the bookstore.
That's a good point.
At the bookstore, yeah.
Can we take that, send that to a committee to further
Yeah.
research? Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting.
Cool. Representative Downey?
I was just wondering, this thing with the homecoming, the game not being on it, I think kind of highlights an area for the diversity ad hoc committee that was just created. If we could maybe reach out to student athletes and bring some of them in, I think that's an area we're obviously lacking in.
Any other points for open forum? Parliamentarian secretary?
I have two, actually. So one, I had a student in my stages class come up to me and tell me that a lot of the whiteboards on campus don't work well, specifically in Clark. She says that either you can't write on them or you can't erase them. So I think, whoever that goes to. And another thing I have personally, I don't feel like the biology teaching assistants are well qualified, especially for 215 and 214. Not many of them know what they're doing. They often refer to each other for help, and they still don't know what's going on. Sometimes experiment works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's kind of frustrating. So if we can maybe look into getting more professional training for teaching assistants in biology, that'd be much appreciated.
Representative Begat?
Just clarification, are you referring to TAs or the undergraduate TAs? Or both?
Like, not the grading TAs, but the TAs that teach us in the lab. So if those are undergrads and whoever, they don't know what they're doing.
Representative Wang?
Can you give me like specific instances where they didn't know what they were doing? Not that I don't believe you.
It's just like, I mean, I can give you names of who to report to, but in the experiments, they don't know, like, you ask them a question and they don't know how to answer it.
Representative Perlasky?
I think on a larger scale, that might be something for the academic affairs committee to look into, because as it stands currently, the university is able to hire any TAs. If they're going to Case for grad school, most of them do get free tuition as well as a monthly stipend. And there's not a whole lot of formal training, making sure that they're really familiar with the equipment, the lab. I personally had a TA tell me that she didn't know how to help me with a gas chromatograph because that's not the one that she used when she was an undergrad. So I think it is a really big issue in making sure that our TAs are trained properly, because it's extremely frustrating when we have a TA that either doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't know how to communicate with undergrads on a understandable basis.
Representative Begat?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, sir. Any other points for open forum? Representative Downey?
I was just curious, in the dining halls, there's a lot of different options, and I was just wondering if we could maybe push gluten-free or gluten-reduced in there, primarily with, I was just curious, because I know like spelt bread is available like that, and that's a lot of options, because I know not a lot of people have celiac disease, but myself included, I actually have an intolerance to gluten, and it's actually a lot more widespread. So I'm just wondering if we can ask what if possible.
Vice President Wynn?
It's already been done. So they're working on it.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other points for open forum? Seeing none, is there anyone reporting on behalf of Colleen? Oh, sorry. Bummer. Tell Colleen to feel better somehow. Announcements. Representative Crawley?
There's a really interesting speaker coming on Thursday night. His name is Andrew Light, and he's an expert on basically like the connection between environmental policy and ethics. He's really interesting. It'll be at 6 p.m. in a place I don't remember, but probably one of those big lecture halls. And you can look it up, but it'll be really sweet.
Excellent. Vice President Wang?
First thing, the Arts and Sciences Curriculum Committee still needs one more member. Currently, Representative Gary Watt is signed up, so we really do need one more member. So if you're interested, talk to me. If you have friends who are interested, have them shoot me an email. And one more thing about the midterm city break, I want to give a big round of hands to Representative Amy Hahn and Representative Emily Ahern for getting all the food.
Representative Lupton?
Quick thing about these Olympics. Thanks for everybody who signed up. Wednesday night setup is beautiful. Thursday morning is beautiful. But Thursday from 11:30 to 1, when the actual event takes place, we only have 6 people signed up. This event cannot take place with only 6 people. Okay? We honestly need 20 people for this event to take place. So,
Yeah, so our exec committee usually meets at a time that you have exec full support.
okay, great.
I was actually curious, can you maybe put that up like for an email, shoot an email to GA? 'Cause I actually really want to sign up, but I have to go back and check a schedule.
schedule.
That's fine,
So
I'll send an email. Thank you.
Excellent. Are there any other announcements? Oh. Go for it.
Just a reminder, diversity and inclusion ad hoc committee, if you know somebody interested, see me after GA, send me an email. And one-on-ones. I can point out the people I haven't had one-on-ones with, and I want to meet with you. I just had a great one-on-one today with Claire Hand. Wasn't it awesome? See, so you need to meet with me. So I really want to meet with you. Please, please, please send me an email. See me after GA. Let's meet with me one-on-one. Painless. I get to know you. You get to know me. It's great.
Okay. Representative Lupton.
Can everybody just please keep PRing me and Jackie for King and Queen? I don't know, we're both
Keith for
really
King.
excited about it, but we just need to get some PR. So freshmen in particular, get your friends out there to vote. I think that's going to happen Wednesday, Jackie?
Yes.
Tomorrow? So, thanks for everybody.
Dr. Pinder? Switch it up. Try it out.
I think it's almost impossible to PR you a little bit more, Keith, because you talk everywhere, your flyers everywhere. I see your face when I eat dinner. So maybe we can PR Jackie a little bit more and you a little less.
Are there any other announcements? I have two really quick. If you guys haven't heard about Delt Caddy Shack, you should check it out. The Delt's built a full putt-putt course in and around their house. It will be Saturday of homecoming, the 24th. You can show up and play, or you can register in advance. It's on Facebook. And if any of you are interested in running for any Springfest co-chair positions, let me know, and I can tell you how to do that.
On that note, November 7th, Phi Kappa Tau's 5K is coming up. Just keep that on your calendar. It's a really big event for us. More than that.
Down.
Real quick, also on Oktoberfest, you really should come out because Case Alumni has built a really cool trebuchet with a 400-pound counterweight that is going to sling some stuff pretty far, pretty fast. So it's $5 a team or person for every throw that you do. It's going to be really cool. Throwing stuff, I'll tear out the baseball field a little bit, hopefully not too much, don't get mad. But it should be really cool event. You should come out and see it. It's going to be great. That's it.
Any other announcements? Representative Hammond. Thank you for staying attentive and respectful. Have a good night.
Exec. See you on Thursday.
What did he say?
Huh?
Go to KSL. We will be setting up for the midterm study break right now. Go help.
I wrote down talk to Skylar, but I don't know what it was about. Something with your
It wouldn't
Wait, should people be taking their placards or leaving them?
Oh, leave your placards. Leave your placards.
Definitely. What's your email? And I'll shoot you information. DCM 36? Awesome. Yeah, I'll shoot you a thing with Absolutely not. We actually. Like there's two main chairs of the event and one of those, and then like all the work inside.
Ask Jackie about that. Max, when are we meeting about Amazon? Tomorrow's Wednesday. What time?
Tired?
I haven't had till 12:20. Yes, you? I mean, it can be me. If I have somebody else, I'll bring it. 12:30.
Is it all in Emily's car?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna meet at 12:30 here, they don't have our banners and stuff like that, so make sure we're set up.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll finalize it
Yes, you can.
drive right up to the library, so I think it has to be. Amy, I'll meet you over there.
Is it like in a car?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you get home safely last night, Emily?
Yeah, I waited like 5 minutes and they came and I got back. Yeah.
So you'll have sophomore standing?
I have some.
Oh, you do have sophomore standing? Something like this, like it would be kind of like I would talk about it with exec because we have last year what happened was that we needed a nursing representative. Colin Lux was a freshman last year, and we, at the end of the semester, elected him as a freshman to the college, to nursing school. And so I think, I'll find out more about this. If you're a freshman now with sophomore standing, you're going to declare a major in the college of science. Sorry, engineering, my bad. Engineering, computer science, okay. Okay, I'll let you know. That's cool, because we have 4 positions open at this point. 3 because with engineering, but we got 4 because Amy fell to the second time, so she was in the engineer. I mean, 2 were supposed to be filming today, but no one filmed it. And then we've got 2 more. So it's like collectively it's 4. So we're getting nominations right now for 2 for like this week, for like cable this week. It's a total. So the third nomination is we close nominations
I've got an email already. I'm
open
gonna send
nominations
you
for 2 this week. Those are tabled
an outline.
so collectively they're.
Basically, it's opened
I
up.
will let you know more about it. Do you want to write your email?
I'll
I'll let you know so that like you have to send me a letter of intent.
We don't necessarily need members. I find it members applying to things, there's no We will. We have kind of a. We have the 2 spring festivals from last year still around. They're going to be helping.
So I'll find out, I'll email you, let you know if you're eligible to run, then you can send me a letter of intent. And then you'll be good to speak on the GA.
So I'll send you guys an email though.
No problem. Thank you for coming tonight.
There'll be full PR going out.
No problem. Thanks.
Really wanted to know. Did exec already meet?
Or 60 or something like that.
Where'd you get a job?
That's just comes here. But that's kind of where that came from. That should be changed. I agree with you. That's a little bit too,
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
But I mean, as far as the actual I mean, do you have an issue with that?
That's ridiculous. You don't know anyone there.
Michael, that's it. If you do, say it.
I mean, he didn't refer any of us. Like, you got in just off the paper qualifications.
Oh,
I guarantee you. I'm looking, absolutely. I'm looking.
Tabling stuff until once every month.
Yeah, I have nothing. I mean, I'm not expecting anything.
Okay.
I could barely contain myself. I was just like.
Did you just find out now and you just looked?
No, I found out like at 8 o'clock. We were discussing the bill or something.
Oh, so you were just chilling there, sitting on it?
Because I forgot the USG oath of office. I didn't print one out, so I had to pull it off my BlackBerry. So I was closing my Gmail, and I was like, oh, you have more messages.
Yeah.
What did it come from? Careers at McKinsey?
That's insane. So yeah, I'll use my Deloitte interview on Friday to get career.
You got Deloitte on Friday? See, none of those companies are even going to look at me because I don't have a 3.0.
Really?
296, baby.
See you out here if you want. You got like your resume, probably. Yeah, is your resume on 1 page? I don't know how you do it.
I have about 1 bullet point for 7 jobs. So,
Constitution of the U.S. If they have a vacancy.
you know, I don't know. I applied for all of those because like the deadlines. I don't want to sound like
Wait,
oh,
what
like
is
I'm
that
a.
card? Is that the one that Shambo had?
Yeah.
And
Can I just have it? Because I need to write it in the minutes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, no, I can grab on that one.
I
But, I mean.
I don't know, it sounds really bad after the fact. I'm like, oh, like, I didn't really want to work in any of those firms anyway, but it's like.
No, I agree.
Like,
You said you wanted to start small.
I had a terrible experience. Not terrible, but just, not with what I was doing, but with the level of corporate that Lubrizol was. I don't like that feel. And I want to get into a position where I'm right, I'm like in with clients right away. Like I don't want to mess around. I don't want to go through like the corporate training process. Like as much as I think those are important, like the business week stuff, like I think that's great. And if McKinsey sent me something at 8 o'clock, yeah, I'd be bouncing off the walls. But like, I don't know. I'm excited for it.
I just wanted to get your input.
I've never really been a. I put this the way I want to. I always take the hard way. I put it together. I know PA. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna get involved with a lot of stuff until people see through my shitty GPA.
Good. Go ahead. Did you take the plaque or who took the plaque?
Me.
Okay.
Wow. Already.
I think this was really good.
I mean, I could kind of sense that because he did say it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had really good